Hello and welcome to FPL Malvo. My name is Andy. I've got team selection ahead of Game Week 27 for you today. I didn't record a video last week because I was on holiday, so I'll catch up with where my team is at. We'll talk captaincy decisions, chip strategy, transfer plans, all of that usual good stuff. If you're enjoying these videos, then please do subscribe to the channel. If you're not enjoying them, then yeah, go ahead and subscribe anyway. It's much appreciated. But I'll stop waffling and let's get on with the video. So, double game week 25. I got 95 points, which was a slight green arrow for me. It was really disappointing, I guess, because it was a double game week that I'd targeted. Because of injuries, I actually only had 5 double game week players. It meant that I ended up bringing in Virgil van Dijk instead of Trent because he was ruled out. I also brought in Diego Jota. To use the triple captain to get 1 goal off those 2 matches from Haaland was disappointing to say the least. But I think it's one of them when it's the most popular triple captain of the season. It's not going to make a massive difference to your rank either way, I don't think. So disappointing, but not a major loss, I guess. But for Diego Jota, I mean, at least he got an assist first, but for him to go off after half an hour with injury, really disappointing. But kind of got away with it, I guess, a little bit with my Liverpool players. Salah came on. I never really considered bringing Salah in because I didn't think he'd get enough minutes across the game week, but he came on, played 60 minutes, obviously got a goal and an assist, and I was really worried going into the second match of the game week. But Salah picked up an injury as well, and then Nunes going off at half-time, he picked up an injury, didn't play the second match. So, I mean, unless you went absolute rogue and went Gakpo, it didn't really matter which Liverpool attacker you had. They all kind of disappointed because of injury. And then obviously Van Dijk coming up with a goal in that second game was really important. Talk through the team. The double Arsenal defense has been really good for me. 6 points each from Raya and Gabriel, just 2 from Branthwaite. Didn't really lose anything because my 2 defenders on the bench got nothing apiece. Pedro Porro obviously out injured. Midfield, Richarlison's been a little disappointing last couple of games after his hot streak, just 2 from him. Gordon scoring, Foden being a disappointment, no attacking returns from him over 2 matches. 15 points for Saka. Yeah, standout. I think Saka's now returned in like 5 game weeks in a row. He's been absolutely outstanding after a bit of a dry spell after Christmas. Haaland already mentioned an assist from Alvarez. Alvarez, I've been holding on to really longer than I wanted because I didn't want to sell him before this double game week. It probably wasn't worth it, to be honest, for 1 assist across 2 matches, 7 points from him. Like I say, green arrow, so I can't be too disappointed, but it was a game week I was hoping to have a really, really big green arrow in. And benching 12 points from Dominic Solanke. I just need to stop benching Solanke. He's been superb. And then moving on to last week, 57 points. It was actually a very slight green arrow, but I think you're talking like 2k green arrow, something like that. I made my transfer of Garnacho to come in for the injured Diego Jota. It meant that I had a full 11. 2 things on that, because I don't feel like there've been good transfers for me. Garnacho I brought in, it was twofold, really. I basically made a decision on the blank game week 29, which was if the games which are already on, which were 3 fixtures, if they were the only ones that went ahead, or there was another like fixture from players that I don't own, I was always going to free hit. I don't particularly want to, because I don't think there's a good upside for it. I don't think you're going to get major points in that game week, but the best I could get out was like 6 players maybe. I didn't really want to put all my eggs in one basket. What I was hoping would happen is that either Chelsea would lose to Leeds, which means the Chelsea-Arsenal match would be on, and with triple Arsenal already in my team, I wouldn't have free hit that week. Or the United lost to Forest, and then the United, I think it's Sheffield United match would have been on. And in bringing in Garnacho, I would have had Maguire and Garnacho, another extra 2 players. I could have got up to like 7 or 8 players fairly easily. And I didn't think it was worth bringing in, say, a Douglas Luiz instead of Garnacho, because still the most that I could have got is like 6 players out, and I would have free hit through blank Gameweek 29. And also, Garnacho is in. He's very nailed now, I would say, in a United attack that looked like it had started finding a little bit of form. And then I brought him in and immediately heard the news that Rasmus Højlund was injured for around a month, which significantly depletes that United attack. And suddenly I don't like Garnacho that much as a hold. The thing is, he is so cheap that I can just bench him a lot of the time. Plus, I've got the wild card in the back of my mind, probably not going to be that far off. Probably not going to end up playing Garnacho that much in the interim. So it's not the end of the world, but watching Douglas Luiz going and getting a mammoth haul, yeah, it was a bit sad when I had Garnacho there for his 2 points. The second thing was 10 minutes before the deadline, I was still umming and ahhing whether to take a hit for Ollie Watkins, for Julian Alvarez. Didn't mind taking a hit this week for it because that was a transfer I was always going to make at some point soon. I decided against it because I heard news that Kev wasn't going to be starting. And I thought, well, if Kev's not starting, Alvarez is almost certain to start in that 10 role. Doesn't seem worth taking a hit for, a good fixture on paper for City. Should have taken that hit. Alvarez comes off the bench for 1-pointer. Ollie Watkins hauls. So with those transfer decisions not going well for me, and I'm not even liking them longer term either. It's often I say like it doesn't matter because you're not making the transfer for 1 week. I was always going to bring Ollie Watkins in. Should have just done it this week. Garnacho now doesn't look like a good punt going forward either. So yeah, not that pleased. But I'll talk you through the team anyway. Rayo and Gabriel, so disappointed to lose that clean sheet against Newcastle. Also, I was roughly following the game, and the first goal was awarded on the BBC app to Gabriel and then swiftly got taken away. It was never his goal, but that would have been nice. Maguire and Branthwaite both scoring superb. Branthwaite has been really, really good since he's been in my team. I can see a few more starts for him going forward. Keep benching him for points. Nice to have the 9 in there. Nothing from Gordon, nothing from Garnacho, but Foden coming through with 11 and Saka with 10. Saka keeping his scoring run going. And Foden, he's not mega consistent, but he does seem to get either 2 points or 10 plus. And I think that's worth it. It's okay. If he's averaging 5 points a game, I'm not going to complain too much. Nothing for Solanke, obviously really tough fixture against City. Haaland getting an assist at least, so 5 points for him as my captain, 1 for Alvarez already covered. So yeah, slight green arrow, and considering, like I say, first game of the game week, you watching Ollie Watkins tearing it up, Douglas Luiz, I'm thinking it could go badly. I'm kind of saved by my goal scoring defenders really. So yeah, just inside the top 50k, still in a pretty good place. In an ideal world, I think I would like to get like top 20k. That'd be my highest ever finish. I think my highest finish is like 24k, something like that. That was a couple of seasons ago, and I remember having a really bad last game week as well, which lost me like 10k places, something like that. So yeah, top 10k is what we're aiming for. Sorry, top 20k. Let's see what my transfer plans are to get there. And eagle-eyed viewers will notice that I've already done it. Ollie Watkins has joined my team for Alvarez. Yeah, I had such regret for not doing it last week. Ollie Watkins is somebody I could easily see holding for the rest of the season. He's talismanic in that Villa team. They're scoring goals. I genuinely think they've got a shot at the top 4. I know it seems like a dumb thing to say when they're in the top 4 with 10 games to go or whatever it is, but they've just been so good this season. The City game, as a Man City fan. With the toughest game, we were just outplayed by them. It's the toughest game we've had this season. They were superb. Yeah, defenders were a little tougher. They haven't been keeping a ton of clean sheets, but I think Watkins, and you could probably get another one in the attack. It would be Douglas Luiz. That's not just reactionary off his haul last week, but he's on free kicks, he's on penalties. He doesn't really play as a defensive midfielder, even though he kind of sits in that too. He does get forward, so I think he does have a bit of potential from open play, as obviously we saw last week. But yeah, with those set pieces as well, there's lots of routes to points. So yeah, I think you can definitely look at a second in that Villa attack. But yeah, Ollie Watkins I think is a kind of a no-brainer. And I think this is probably the best strike force for me. Tony, I think, is the only one who's kind of pushing it for me. If Rasmus Højlund was fit, you could have that argument as well. But I think Solanke for his double, Haaland for being Haaland, and Ollie Watkins, I think, is the best strike force. Solanke is flagged, and that is a bit of concern to me with his double game week on the horizon. I think he's the best captaincy shout next game week. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that one. If he doesn't start against Burnley, it's a bit disappointing. The way I've got my bench set up, Pedro Porro would be next off. I don't know what the likelihood is Pedro Porro playing for Tottenham. So I think the likelihood is that Garnacho would come on, even though I'm not expecting anything from Garnacho in that match. City do have a habit of conceding, so I won't rule it out. I'm kind of walking backwards in my team, so let's do the midfield. Gordon against Wolves. I think that's a tough game. Newcastle are kind of avoids at the minute. I think Gordon is the only asset worth having from them, essentially. I include Kieran Trippier in that as well, because they're not keeping clean sheets, and his attacking returns, I don't think, are enough to justify his price alone at the moment. Foden in midfield, obviously the reverse fixture last year, he got a hat-trick against Man United, so let's just hope for that again, please, Foden. That'd be lovely. Saka against Sheffield United away, you'd hope for points in that one. Richarlison, Crystal Palace. On paper, the fixtures look pretty good for my team this week. The defence, Virgil van Dijk's still there. He's not somebody I particularly want long term, but I can see him staying until a wild card. Gabriel and Raya, the Arsenal double up. Let's hope for a clean sheet against Sheffield United. Would have thought there's a good chance of that, the way that Sheffield United attack's been firing this season. And Branthwaite, I'm going to play for West Ham. Now, West Ham obviously scored 4 against Brentford last week, so maybe the return of Paquetá, I think it probably makes them a much better team going forward. So I'm not sure I'm entirely convinced by an Everton clean sheet there. But yeah, Pedro Porro I don't think will start. Otherwise, he would have played in front of Branthwaite. And if he's back off the bench, you could see him trying to give him minutes and giving him 15 minutes at the end. So, and I don't want to play Maguire against Man City, even if he is fit. And he didn't play the FA Cup. So, yeah, Branthwaite it is really. Captaincy I've got on Haaland. I don't think I can move away from Haaland for a home fixture. I say next week it's the options open up a little bit more, but this week I think it's Haaland. If the Sheffield United match for Arsenal was at home, I think you could consider maybe going Saka, but being away, I think Haaland's still my first choice. Going forward as well, I mentioned that I'm now going to be free hitting in 29. That means that next week I can look at bringing in probably another Bournemouth player for their double. I know a lot of people have got some assets from Luton, which don't look bad, particularly now that they've got a game in 29 that can help you avoid the free hit. But yeah, I think probably getting in probably a defender from Bournemouth is the way to go. And then I'll look at planning going forward. I kind of had it in my head that I would avoid the free hit, which means I could use the free hit around 34. And also because I was thinking of bringing in lots of players that just played in that game week, I probably would have looked at wildcarding straight out of it, 30, maybe 31. Whereas now I think I can hold the wild card a little bit longer. Like I say, my attack I think is the best attack. My defense I'm pretty pleased with. Depending on fixtures, I'm happy to play any of the 5. Garnacho is the one I don't really like in my midfield. Richarlison as well. I got a slight asterisk over. The goals seem to have dried up since Son's come back, and I kind of expected the opposite. So yeah, I think there's a few improvements I can make, but generally speaking, I'm fairly happy with the team. So I think my plan in terms of chip strategy is to put off the wild card for a little bit, maybe looking at using it going into 34. I could even save it till like 37, but I think if I used it in 34 and we've got an idea of what fixtures are going to be double as in 37 as well, I can set up the wild card for both, maybe look at using bench boost in one of those to get out the most double game week players that I can. So yeah, I think it's going to be a bit quiet on the chip front for a few weeks, apart from that 29 free hit. So that's it for my team selection ahead of game week 27. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, let me know in the comments what you think of my team and my chip strategy going forward. But I'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another video.